guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm going to be discussing all 8 of the Fast and Furious films before Hobbs and Shaw comes out this weekend. Now this is going to be my ranking. Let me know in the comments down below what you think or how you would rank these movies. I always like to hear your opinions and how these weigh out against the others. At the bottom, I'm going to have Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. In this movie, it's the 3rd installment to the Fast and Furious franchise. This one had no Dom, no Brian. It felt kind of lost. Sean was the main character in this film, and he just felt like a non-character. He didn't have that same vibe as Dom or Brian in the first 1 and 2. But this movie does have a cool, interesting character. His name's Han. It's his introduction to the series, even though it's intermingled with the other Fast and Furious franchise, that he's probably the best part of the movie. At number 7, I have Fate of the Furious. The coolest scene to me in this movie is the Jason Statham scene in the airplane. That was really cool, like different styling of action that I haven't seen before. Really like that. The stunts were pretty cool as well, just like from The Rock in the prison scene. That was some different. I mean, he is kicking some major butt in this one. But yes, some of the stunts are a little bit ridiculous, especially, yeah, zombie cars. Do I need to say more? At number 6, I have Too Fast, Too Furious. Now, I flip-flop a lot between this one and Fate of the Furious, but I feel like this one's is slightly better just because it has Brian in this movie. Brian is a lead character that kind of holds the franchise together. It's Dom and Brian's relationship. And this one, we're introduced to Tyrese, and Brian and Tyrese's like bonding in this movie is just great. They have great chemistry. They're hilarious together. It's also the introduction to Ludacris, who's also in the other Fast and Furious films. So I like how it kind of had these introductory characters that you've seen in the other movies, and they play a pretty big importance in them. But I will have to say that the rat scene in this movie, it's just a little cringy, and there's this, it's that early 2000s vibe. It does have this nostalgia feel to it because it came out during that time. I mean, I just remember all the neon cars, the glow. That is something I take away from Too Fast, Too Furious. At number 5, I have Fast and Furious 6. This was a great movie after Fast 5. I really like the leading up to from 5 to 6. I feel like it worked really well. 5 had a great ending, and then you go into 6 and there's a whole different villain, the different stunts, the more heist works that happen. It was pretty good. This is where the stunts became a little more interesting, I would say. I mean, you have Dom flying across over a bridge, jumping on another car. It's a lot. They became more superhero-like in this one, and that's where it's starting to lose me a little more. At number 4, I have Fast and Furious. Not to get confused with The Fast and Furious. That's the first one. But Fast and Furious is the 4th installment in the series. I really like this movie. After Tokyo Drift, I'm not gonna lie, I thought the franchise died. It was done. Didn't think I was gonna see it again. But when Fast and Furious came out and I saw Vin Diesel and Paul Walker reprising the roles as Dom and Brian, I was really excited. I like where they took it. Dom was on the run. Brian O'Connor was in his police work. And it, brought them back together because we haven't seen them since the first one. And their relationship is just golden. They just have a great bonding relationship in this one. And I also like that it was a little more grounded, because after we get from 5, it becomes less grounded. And it was more like racing. And we also get the introduction of Gal Gadot, who later became our Wonder Woman. So I really like this one. I know it's not critically received well, but I just like that it kicked off Fast and Furious once again and led us to Fast 5. At number 3, I have Furious 7. Now, Furious 7 as a whole, as a movie, isn't the best, but what they had to work with at the time with Paul Walker's death, I think they did it really well. The ending to this movie is just perfect. Honestly, like, I don't know how you could have ended this movie. I thought this would have been the perfect ending to the whole series. It was just great. I love the send-off of Paul Walker. It gets me emotional every time. That is like my one problem I have with Fast and Furious 8, that, Paul Walker's character was a main core to the Fast and Furious franchise. It was Vin Diesel and Paul Walker. And Fast and Furious 8, that was the part that was missing. I mean, it's like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. Like, if he's not in it, who? It's just completely different. So Furious 7, I really thought they did it so well, handled it so nicely. Yes, of course, there's some crazy action scenes in this one. Vin Diesel stomping the ground. It's a little interesting, but overall the send off of Paul Walker and everything and how they did it so respectfully. It's a great ending. Number 2, I have Fast 5. Fast 5 took Fast and Furious franchise to me to a whole nother level. You get the introduction of The Rock. He really brings another charisma act to the movie, and Vin Diesel and The Rock's characters going head to head. It's just a great like action sequence. We start seeing a little more heist involvement, and it definitely changes the Fast and Furious franchise from being like a car racing, stealing material to a heist movie. It's good. It's a rewatchable film. Everybody's just great on it. Again, Dom and Brian's relationship really outshines in here. You should see them growing more as a family, which is thrown a lot around in the whole franchise family. It's a phenomenal film. I definitely think it stands out compared to a lot of the other ones action wise, and that's why it's at my number 2. At my number 1, I have the original, The Fast, The Furious. I could not have it at my number 1 because it started everything. It's a classic movie, to be honest. I mean, we start off with racing and stealing VHS tapes. It's crazy how far the franchise has come. We still have 2 more coming out. We have Hobbs and Shaw's coming out, a spin-off series. This series just keeps on going, and it's crazy. Who would have thought from The Fast and Furious that we'd be where we're at today? I mean, we were introduced to Paul Walker, young Paul Walker. I remember this movie because this is where I had a huge crush on him, and I wanted to know everything Paul Walker was involved in, and it was just, I loved him and Vin Diesel's relationship. You can tell it was very genuine outside of working as well, and the story's very, very simple, but it's just a good, solid flick that you could go and rewatch and have a good time. Has great chase scenes. Yeah, a little bit of them look a little, outdated, but it's a really good flick, and I mean, it started this humongous franchise to this craziness. So that is why it's at my number 1. Like I said in the beginning, let me know in the comments down below how you rank the Fast and Furious franchise. Are you excited for Hobbs and Shaw? I'm somewhat excited, but like I said, with Fast and Furious 8, the Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker, not in the franchise anymore. It's missing something, and it's like the other half of Vin Diesel and Dom's character. I'm interested to see what they do with The Rock's and Jason Statham's character in Hobbs and Shaw. I'd be very interested. But yeah, thank you guys for always liking and subscribing. We always appreciate your support, and see you later. Bye!